Okay. Alright, let's see. I wonder if you can see me now. There we go. Alright, yo, what's up, guys? How we doing? How we doing? How's life? Ugh. First question of the day, always, as always. What did you read this week? Actually did not get a chance to go out to my local comic shop. So, how are you enjoying Web of Word? I liked it. I still enjoy it. I played it mostly with my girlfriend, the day before yesterday. Um, we got, like, really far into it. It's really good. It's a lot like a lot of the Mike Mignola, like, miniseries that we've been getting from Hellboy currently after the world ended. Where you're like, all right, well, this is another thing that happens before Hellboy dies. So that's cool, I guess. It's just kind of weird going back and playing older Hellboy, or like interacting with older Hellboy material. Um, because you know where that story is gonna end. So you're just like, oh, this is cool, but I know in like 40 years the world's not gonna be there anymore. Spoilers for Hellboy, I guess. I'm sorry. What's up, Tristan? What's up, Josiah? What's up, 16 Tim? What's up, John Ty? Michael Bay's G.I. Joe, Real American Mercenaries. Oh my god. The history behind G.I. Joe is so insane. But like once I found out about it, I was like, oh, that's like so mundane and it makes sense. Literally, it's just like toy companies saying, oh man, doesn't it suck that Vietnam, like, it like completely destroyed morale? Or really the U.S. government's like, doesn't it suck that like the Vietnam War like destroyed American morale and nobody wants to enlist anymore? You know what we gotta do? We gotta sell toys to kids and we gotta get them to want to join the military again. We gotta make being in the military look cool again. It's literally all it was. Now it's like a major toy franchise. That's insane. Hickman's Superman quote, "You'll believe a man can pour." God damn it. I mean, probably, but I don't know. I think Hickman could do a pretty good Superman story. I just don't think Hickman would be interested in doing a Superman story. I feel like if Hickman was gonna do anything Superman related, it'd probably be like Legion of Superheroes or something. Hickman can never do just like a solo comic about like one character. It has to be like an encore cast, like 8 million people, all at once, and there's always something happening. There's always a war going on. There's always like subterfuge happening, and these stories have to like intertwine. You know what? Now that I say it, I think you might be bored by a Hickman Superman book, but I'd love it. Hickman tickles my autism. I like it. How are you enjoying Web of? Well, you already answered that. Yeah, Web of Word's great. What's up, Tristan? Got to read Batman Black Mirror by Scott Snyder for the first time, dude. That's awesome. I envy you. Oh man, that was a great comic to read when it was coming out. It really that's the comic that really makes me wish that the Bat Dick era stuck around. Like Dick Grayson's just had so much potential to be the ongoing Batman, and then he just wasn't. But yeah, Black Mirror was like that was excellent. I loved it. I'm glad you got to read that for the first time, man. That's a really good story. Hellboy reboot in 2019. You'll believe a movie can pull an Infinity War without any build up. And I haven't seen that movie at all. I don't really want to either. Although apparently they adapt The Wild Hunt. Like I saw like in the trailers they have some of the stuff where like Hellboy's fighting the trolls, and he like pulls Excalibur. I also heard that like the witch that he's talking to is like Hecate. So like they have the comic book stuff there. They just butcher it. um, it's one of those cases where like a movie is comic book accurate, but it's just terrible and it butchers the material in the process. So I'm just, I'll stick with the comic. Um, let's see. I read a bunch of Superman comics, Greg Pak's Action Comics, Superman Doomed, Superman Savage Dawn. Oh, you read like all the New 52 stuff. Nice, nice. How was that? I remember liking it a lot at the time. Um, After reading all those Superman stories, my favorite thing I like about Superman stories are when he's the champion of the oppressed. Yes, exactly. That was like the big appeal of New 52 Superman for me. They took him back to being like a more pulpy champion of the oppressed type character. But I guess a lot of people at the time just they weren't into it. Superman's one of those characters who's like painfully at war with himself. I mean, a lot of characters are like that. I think Spider-Man's like that. Batman is definitely like that. So like sometimes you have characters who start off as like one thing, but then they're popularized to something else. Like Spider-Man really has that where he's like kind of the anti-Superman. Really just like everything goes terribly wrong, and it's like a psycho soap opera reading all those like Ditko Spider-Man stories. But then Romita Senior comes on board and he's like, yeah, that's nice, but I'm trying to draw some hot girls, and I can only draw hot girls if the guys aren't being creepy and weird. So we gotta make the guys not creepy and weird, and we gotta get them in a position where they can talk to girls, and we can make this a romance comic. And now that's just kind of what Spider-Man is. Like he's like an Archie type romance character, even though it's like not what he starts off as. And Superman just kind of has that in spades. He starts off as like this champion of the oppressed, but that's not what made him popular. What made him popular was when he was like this big, like patriarchal, like fuddy-duddy who wags his finger at bad guys and says, "I'm Superman. Oh, I'm dead. Lex Luthor, you diseased maniac." Yeah. Like he's the passive star man who just kind of hangs out and is like, "Oh, I'm Superman. My hands are on my hip. Blah blah blah." Where he's like not really like a proactive protagonist. That's how Superman got popular. That's what popularized the character. But like, yeah, that's not what he started off as. So it was kind of funny reading like some of that New 52 stuff at the time, when Grant Morrison kind of took Superman back to being a proactive, pulpy champion of the oppressed, and people were like angry. They were like, "Yeah, Grant Morrison's ruining Superman. How could he do this? He wrote All-Star Superman. That's great. This is not great because he made Superman mean. He makes Superman mean to rich people. That's not real Superman." Just, I don't know. Characters are at war with themselves. It's funny to see that happen. I love to see more Superman stories dealing with politics. Well, that's kind of the crazy thing about like the. I know the Max Landis universe was gonna delve into a lot of that. I mean, it's unfortunate everything that resulted of the Max Landis situation. all of it is saying it's unfortunate is like an understatement there. But like, yeah, apparently he was gonna try to do like a whole Superman versus capitalism kind of thing, which I think could have been potentially really interesting. Potentially, there's some stuff in that like Kryptonian epic pitch where I'm just like, what? You made this whole universe as a reaction to Zack Snyder's Superman, and your your follow up is to make him darker and edgier than Zack Snyder ever did. What? What? That's a weird mic drop, but okay. Um, Tarantino, Sergeant Rock, and Easy Company, the skinning of Nazi scalps. Dude, that would be awesome. You know what? I still got my boots chapped about the Quentin Tarantino almost directing a Luke Cage movie. That would have been awesome. We're never gonna get that ever. We're never gonna get the chance to see that ever. But like, it almost happened, and it almost would have been one of the greatest films of all time. There were a lot of Marvel like failed projects from the '90s that I feel that way about though. I think that the James Cameron Spider-Man script, that would have been like the best superhero movie ever. Just ever. It would have been. I don't know how you top that. It's great. Maybe you're just being biased because I love James Cameron and I love Spider-Man, but like, dog. I don't know, man. It would have been great. Although, I take it back a little bit. That '90s Iron Man script sounded awful. The whole thing with like where like MODOK was the villain, Tony Stark's dad was gonna like try to take over America. That's pretty stupid. But outside of that, like some of the other stuff is pretty good. Like James Cameron almost made an X-Men movie. That would have been great. Even though I love the X-Men films that we got. What's up, Supreme? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Thank you. Way better than I was like 2 weeks ago. On my big break from Cape shit, even extended to taking a break from US comics and more into like anime and manga again. Like classic mecha from the 80s. Dude, that's nice. It's kind of weird. I feel like my reading habits are like eclectic enough to where I'm reading sort of everything all at once. So I never really feel like I've taken a break from American comics because I'm also reading so many other things at the same time. But what are you checking out, man? I haven't delved too heavily into the mecha genre. Like I've watched Pat Labor, and obviously I've watched like Power Rangers. I do want to read Go Go Loser Ranger because that looks fun. It's kind of like The Boys but with Power Rangers. That sounds up my alley. So I'm definitely gonna check that out. But if you are still on a break from US comics, I would definitely recommend checking out the Meta Barons. That's a really cool that's a really cool Euro comic. It's an offshoot of the Inkle, which I think is honestly better than the Inkle. I actually don't like the Inkle that much. I know everyone swears by it. It's fine. It is crazy that like Jodorowsky started the Meta Barons as like, this is what I wanted Dune to be. And I'm really glad that he did not make a Dune movie because it's not Dune. It's not Dune at all. But like it's like really good and really interesting as its own thing. It's kind of like when you find out that George Lucas created Star Wars mainly because he wanted to make a Flash Gordon film. Like I'm glad that he didn't make Flash Gordon, but Star Wars is awesome. So that's really cool. 16 Dents is the Hellboy reboot. Welcome to executive meddling and creative differences. Oof. That you just hit the nail on the comic book movie industrial complex right there. Oh yeah, what's up, Marcus? Um. Oh crap. Dude, my mouse is like too aggressive when I scroll. I need to like get a better system. I need to get like one of those like touchscreen doodads. Actually, that'd be terrible. That would suck. Let me not do that. I just make my life like way more complicated when I'm trying to stream. Uh, John Ty says, that's why it's interesting to see Hickman write for a solo hero like Spider-Man, because Hickman generally writes for team books. Yeah, dude, I'm really excited to see what Hickman does with Spider-Man. I have heard that Hickman is a big proponent of like one and done stories and single stories. Despite the fact that like he built his entire career at Marvel on the back of like high concept, like 800 issue mega arc stories. So I'm fascinated to see what he does with Spider-Man there. I think some of his one shots are really good. Hickman did a really good one shot for Moon Knight with Moonlight, Black, White, and Blood. It's like a 15 page short that he did. I thought that was really good. The Spider-Man short that he did, it's like 5 or 6 pages for Amazing Fantasy 1000. That was pretty decent. So I don't know. I'm very fascinated to see what Hickman does with it. I was just talking to a buddy of mine about it earlier, and it's a very sober take, but he just said Hickman's just gonna do. Imagine Dan Slott's Spider-Verse, but like actually good. That's basically what Ultimate Spider-Man's gonna be under Hickman. And I was like, oh, you're right. You're right. But I don't know. I'm so fascinated to see where it goes. I wish Greg Pak got to write Action Comics again. Well, Greg Pak did a really good Superman Batman arc where you had Superman from like the 1940s interacting with like Batman from the 1940s, or Batman and Robin from the 1940s. More or less, what if Adrian Scott, who's the Superman actor from the 1940s that we actually never got to see the official version of him? Is it Adrian Scott? Alan Kurt or something like that. Not George Reeve. God damn it! Where's the Kirk Allen? Yeah. So like Greg Pak basically did a World's Finest story that was, what if Kirk Allen Superman met Douglas Croft and Louis Venture Batman? I can't remember the name of him, but it is the Batman from those like really racist ass 1940s serials where like Batman and Robin have to fight the Japanese menace. The Japanese are gonna lure us into their little amusement traps, and they're gonna take our white people and turn them Japanese. It's basically what those things are. It's like really, I didn't pick up on the racism as a kid, but like you go back and you watch them and you're like, oh Jesus Christ, oh my God, I loved this as a kid. I'm slightly concerned there. what does it say about me? But yeah, a lot of that stuff's really cool. That was a really cool arc that he did. He actually signed all my copies of it. I was really happy about that. Supreme Omega says, been watching the late 80s and 90s Gundam OVA set in the classic main UC continuity. I haven't watched any of those. I know Ziggy Gamma has, and he's been trying to pill me on it ever since high school. I will get to it eventually, but I feel like I just have to be like in the mood again to watch it. But whenever I like find myself in a mecha mood, I always just default to Evangelion. 1610 Man says Superman New 52 back to Golden Age concepts until the Silver Age fans scream in outrage. Dude, more like the post-crisis fans screaming outrage. Like, it's not like John Byrne. It's not like it's not like John Byrne, and it's not like Christopher Reeve. Those are like the two benchmarks for like that, like a lot of 80s and 90s and 2000s Superman fans kind of have. They're like, it has to look like those. If it doesn't look like those, then you did it wrong. You did it wrong. There's no other way to depict Superman. He has to be exactly like that. Yeah, T-shirt and jeans Superman was like... That was like some of the best Superman material to come out the past like 30 years, I think. You ever read Neil Gaiman's Eyeballs? No, but I have read his Eternals. I like it a lot. I know a lot of classic, like a lot of classic Eternals and Avengers fans don't like it. I like it. I'm not a classic Eternals fan though. Like I've read some of that material here and there. And oh, sorry, I swallowed wrong. But yeah, some of the classic Eternal stuff just it just doesn't. It's not good. It's not good. Basically, just take the New Gods and make it Ancient Aliens. Meh. Yeah, I think some of the stuff that Neil Gaiman does is like really good with it though. Even though I've just started reading Earth X, and Earth X is more or less what Neil Gaiman's just kind of doing with the Eternals, but like in the main Marvel universe. I think that's kind of interesting. And then Al Ewing just kind of takes that to like the next level with Judgment Day. So that's pretty interesting. Modern day Superman is dark, edgy, and political, but then other times they bring back the Silver Bronze Age stuff to ease the outrage of long-term Silver and Bronze Age Superman fans. That's true. What are your initial impressions of Spider-Man 2? It's funny you asked that. I'm actually making a video about that right now. I like it. I think gameplay-wise, it is probably my favorite Spider-Man game. But the story... But, I don't know. So, some of that I just kind of talk up to, like... I don't like modern Spider-Man. Like, the way in which, like, Peter Parker is approached as a character, like, post-Disney, post-One More Day. Like, the contemporary, edgeless, hyper-sanitized, like, user-friendly Peter Parker, I don't like it. But that's what Insomniac Spider-Man is. I guess spoilers for the game, but there are a couple flashbacks where you like see Peter Parker as like a teenager, and he just does not act like Peter Parker at all. at all. He's more like a dead ringer for like Billy Batson or something like that. But like, that's not Spider-Man. I don't know. I don't like Insomniac's take on Peter Parker. I don't like their take on Miles Morales either. I think they're both just like boring and sauceless. But goddamn, they make some really high octane games, and they're really fun. So, yeah. I mean, you're gonna get like some more in-depth thoughts. I haven't finished the game yet. I've had a lot of it spoiled for me because the internet is the internet. But, yeah, I'm liking it a lot so far. The video that I recorded is a little out of date now because I recorded it when I was like 40% into the game. Now I'm about like 60% into the game. I'm nearing the end of it, but yeah, story, but the gameplay is fantastic. So that's just where I'm at. Got caught up with Saladin Ahmed's Daredevil, and it's my first Daredevil run. Oh, yo, okay, nice. We got a blooming Daredevil fan. I'm loving the status quo of Matt being a priest. Yeah, it's like a really interesting, like kind of like full circle there. I also love that like we got Matt away from the law. That was like the whole point of like Daredevil Born Again. So it's really kind of cool that like we're doing other things with him now. That's really cool. I haven't read the latest issue, but I read like the first two, and I thought they were really good. Solid Snake voice actor David Hayter created the 2000s Iron Man movie strip where Howard Stark. Yeah. Not great. Not great. Oof. I mean, it's interesting thinking about like Tom Cruise potentially being Iron Man back in like 2001. That would have been an interesting concept. I will throw out there though, one thing I really like about the script there is that we hadn't Robert Downey Jr.ified Iron Man, so like Tony Stark is he's not just Doctor Strange. He's not a jerk that needed to learn a lesson in humility and become a no, he's just I make technology and I want to help people and I want to use my technology to help people. That's Tony Stark's whole thing. So it's kind of refreshing going back and reading that. It's like, oh yeah, Tony's a decent person. That's cool. That's refreshing. Hadn't seen that in a while. I'm fascinated to know if that movie came out, how it would have impacted the world's perception of Iron Man. I'm also fascinated to know what the suit would have looked like. I know a lot of people are using the modular armor, and like a lot of promotional material for Iron Man back then, but yeah, no, I'm fascinated to see what that suit would have looked like. Same way I'm like fascinated to know what the Spider-Man costume under James Cameron would have looked like. Yeah, man. Different world we would have lived in. Completely different world. On manga stuff, since it's Halloween, I'm checking out Junji Ito. Oh, nice. Really into body horror like David Cronenberg and H.R. Geiger. Dude, there's an H.R. Geiger book that my girlfriend's sister has that I just kind of want to steal. I'm like, this looks cool. Mine, yoink. I'm kidding, I wouldn't actually steal anything from her, but like, yeah, that H.R. Geiger book is really interesting. I love the art book. I love H.R. Geiger's artwork a lot. I love the hell out of the Alien movies as a kid, and I love Prometheus more than most people. Um, Dude, what was that Geiger-esque video game that came out? Scorn? That looked cool. Um, Arcus says, modern Hickman Spider-Man, guy in a black spandex, and a giant helmet standing, stands in a room and talks about how he's going to change the world into a utopia. I mean, that's every Hickman book ever. Like, literally every Hickman book ever. Almost every Hickman book ever. Decorum's not that. Decorum is basically like, what if Ultron was Silver Surfer, and they had to fight Dr. Manhattan. That's what Decorum is. That's like the one divergent book that doesn't involve a guy in a helmet. But 99% of the time, you're right. 1610 says, Batman 5 Unchained coming 1999. Harley Quinn as Joker and Vicky Vale's daughter. Howard Stern as Scarecrow. Oh my God, what? And Jeff Goldblum as the Hatter, plus Nicolas Cage as Man-Bat. That's fascinating. It sounds like a train wreck, but it sounds fascinating. It sounds like a fascinating train wreck. Wait, Harley Quinn as Joker and Vicky Vale's daughter? I'm trying to think of the continuity of that, because I mean, that movie is like a gaggle of scenes. It's not like a movie. It's just don't get me started on Batman 89. But like, I'm trying to think, like, they never. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. That sounds weird and dumb. But Howard Stern as Scarecrow would have been funny. Joel Schumacher's Batman Year One. You mean Matt Reeves the Batman? Dude, it's so crazy. Like, Matt Reeves' Batman movie, it feels a lot like a classic Joel Schumacher film. Like, it feels a lot like what I would imagine a Joel Schumacher Batman movie would be if Joel Schumacher never directed a Batman movie. Supreme Omega says, on Max Landis, he argued that Stephen King did superhero stories with Carrie and Firestar and deconstructive horror tone, a horror tone kind. Do you agree with him? I mean, are we like, how are we defining superhero? Just as like people with powers? Because that's just cape punk. Like, I don't know. I've never read Firestarter, but Carrie does not. That's not a superhero story. That is like a supervillain story. And I'm like The Shining, Doctor Sleep. Like, they're like, yeah, they have like powers, but like they're not superhero stories. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's just like, yeah, cape punk, which I hate that name, but like, you know, that is a genre, like stories about people with superpowers that aren't superheroes. 1610 Man says, Joel Schumacher's Batman: The Dark Knight Returns with Clint Eastwood as Batman and David Bowie as Joker. That actually sounds really good. Give me a time machine. I need that to happen. I'm gonna make that happen. That sounds awesome. Arcus says, what I don't like about the New 52 is the t-shirt and jeans are fine, but the shirt needed sleeves. Would have been cooler in my opinion. Oh, like a long sleeve shirt? I can see that. Um, I like the short sleeves because it's a reference to what uh, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster originally wanted to do with Superman, where he wasn't a guy with like a costume. He was just a dude with like a t-shirt and jeans. Um, so like Grant Morrison's like calling back to that, and Rags Morales is calling back to that really hard with the t-shirt and jeans. Um, but yeah, I think the long sleeves would have worked better because Superman. I associate Superman with long sleeves. Um, Whenever I draw Superman, or let me take that back. Whenever I draw a young Superman, like year one Superman, I often put him in like athletic wear. So he's got he's basically just wearing like Under Armour, that he like kind of screened. He like screen printed the S onto the chest, and he's got like a little harness with the that like the cape attaches onto, because like it doesn't go into the collar, because that would choke you, or if in Superman's case it would just like snap off. But yeah, I don't know. Modern Spider-Man started in 1986, and the problems Spider Marriage fans had with Marvel editorial and corporate executive status quos were always there. Yeah, but I mean, like specifically in the way that we're like Peter Parker is not a character anymore. Like when you play like the Insomniac Spider-Man games, Peter Parker doesn't feel like classic comic book Peter Parker. He feels like Leonard from The Big Bang Theory to me. Like Peter Parker's a guy with like a chip on his shoulder. He's got some bite to him. He's a little sassy. In fact, not a little sassy. He is very sassy. And just I feel like Insomniac Peter Parker isn't that. He's just very sauceless. That boy ain't got no sauce. And I feel the same way about like two of the three live action silver screen Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland. Those are both very sauceless Peter Parkers. Andrew Garfield, I think, is the closest we've gotten live action to like comic book Peter Parker. But yeah, I mean, like if we're talking about like just in general the problems with Spider-Man, that goes back a ways. I think it goes back before the 80s. I think it goes back to like when Steve Ditko leaves the book. That's when like the real kind of that's when the schism starts. Because then you get people like Grant Morrison who are just like, everything after Ditko left is trash. Which, I mean, hey, that's I can't take that read away from them. I can't take like how they feel away from them. That's how they feel. But I think that's when like a lot of the schism starts with Spider-Man. It starts in like 1966 or 67 or something like that. Whenever Peter Parker graduates high school, which is like 30 something issues after, it's like 30 something issues until the Amazing Spider-Man book. Beanie, don't you feel the whole story with Harry is just Amazing Spider-Man 2? I mean, there's a lot of stuff with the Insomniac Spider-Man games that just feel like they're riffing off of other Spider-Man films, and to their credit, I think they're doing a better job with that material. I think the whole thing where like Harry is sick, and he kind of blames Spider-Man for the deterioration is that the right word? Yeah, the deterioration or the degeneration. I don't know, the D something. He blames Spider-Man for the D, in his health. His health is declining, and he blames Spider-Man for it. That's something that's very much from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. You know, all the stuff where Peter is he views like Dr. Otto Octavius as like a mentor figure. That's from Spider-Man 2. You know, the whole thing where Peter goes to high school with Harry Osborn and Mary Jane. That's from the Raimi films. I mean, really, that's from Ultimate Spider-Man, but like, they kind of retcon some of that into there too. I know JMS kind of retcon some of that stuff into the comics, which I don't like, but you know, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Insomniac Spider-Man crew, or I guess the writing team, basically are just looking at Spider-Man films and saying, okay, how do we do this but like actually like good? how do we tell like a cohesive story using these same elements? Like even like with Spider-Man 3, there's like a whole thing where there's like the clash between the Ditko and the McFarlane era for Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man 2, the game, blends those two worlds together really well, and taking all the black suit material and blending it in with like the Kraven story, and Kraven's like a classic like, you know, Ditko era Spider-Man villain. So I think the game does a good job of out Spider-Man 3ing Spider-Man 3. I don't know, dude. That's just crazy to me, but I don't know. That said, I still hate the idea of Harry Osborn being Venom. Stupid. Especially now, like, just fucking in a post King in Black world, in a post Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman, Venom world, in a post Al Ewing and Ram V and Cafu and Brian Hitch Venom world, why would you want to use anyone as Venom who isn't Eddie Brock? I don't know. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. The only Cape shit that I'm into is the more experimental and deconstructive stuff. Stuff that will make The Boys and Watchmen look tame. Trying to see like what's on my shelf that you might like. You might really like The Authority. Planetary is also really good. There's another book over here by Warren Ellis and I think Chris Burnham. It's called Black Summer. Yeah, here we go. Warren Ellis and Juan Jose Rip. It's called Black Summer. You might really like it. It's very dated at this point in time because this is very clearly a commentary on the Bush administration. I guess the Bush Jr. administration. But yeah, this is really good. You might really enjoy this. Let's see what else we got here. Omega Men by Tom King. It's really good. Trying to like other off the wall like superhero stuff. Oh, Jupiter's Legacy. That whole trilogy with it's like Jupiter's Circle, Jupiter's Legacy, and Jupiter's Legacy Requiem. Those are really good. Pretty much a lot of the Mark Miller stuff, like Wanted, Superior, Starlight I thought was fine. That's not really a superhero thing. That's more like a Flash Gordon kind of thing. But yeah, a lot of the Mark Miller material you might like Kick-Ass. You know, I think that stuff might be up your alley right now. But yeah, check those out. You know, yeah, definitely give those a shot. Tristan says, last month I got to read Duo Powerbomb by Daniel Warren Johnson for the first time, and it was amazing. That's a really good one. I have that in single issues. I don't think I bought the trade for it, but that is a really good book. It's a really heartbreaking book too. Like everything else Daniel Warren Johnson does. Really good, but also really heartbreaking. And oh yeah, Long Halloween. That's pretty cool too. Also got to read Tom King's Mr. Miracle for the first time. Yeah, dude, that's a really good one. I love Mr. Miracle by Tom King. That's like one of my favorite comics by him and Mitch Gerads. Cape Punk refers to the subgenre of superhero fiction with superheroism in a realistic manner, storytelling with greater freedom. That's kind of what I consider like. Well, on the one hand, I kind of consider like a lot of the Stephen King stuff to be that, but like, not really. I don't know. They're more just like supernatural stories. I don't know. I see where Max Landis is coming from. I just don't think I agree with him. It's like my knee-jerk reaction. It's like, no, stop it, shut up, go away, go back to making your internet videos. Got some more into the Cape Punk stuff, the post 9/11 2000s era. Works like season 1 of Heroes. Yeah, some of that stuff's pretty cool. Joel Schumacher's Batman Year One would definitely not be as boring as Matt Reeves' The Batman. Well, I mean, aesthetically, I think it would be very much like Matt Reeves' Batman. Like the way Matt Reeves like shoots some of the action, and like so a lot of his like musical choice, it gives me major Lost Boys vibes, and I'm like, yeah, this is totally what Joel Schumacher would have made if he had got to make the dark and gritty Batman film that he wanted to make in the first place. Also, a lot of the psychology stuff or the psychological stuff that the Batman does, I can totally see Joel Schumacher doing with his version of Batman. And we got some of that in Batman Forever and in Batman and Robin, which I like those movies a lot more than most people. Like I love how those films are like, first of all, actually about Batman. You know, it's nice to have a Batman film that is about your title character. That's pretty cool, I think. But yeah, Batman Forever is all about like Bruce Wayne burying he has like those repressed memories of reading his father's diary, and like the final entry in his diary is, I just got back from like a 70-hour shift. I want to go to bed, but my stupid son wants to go to the movies, so I guess we're gonna go to the movies. Oh my god, that's so funny. And Bruce Wayne has that whole thing where he's like, "Oh god, I killed my parents. Their death is my fault. I'm Batman, and I'm Batman because I'm trying to make up for like Uncle Benning my parents, basically." I always thought that was a really interesting idea. It really sucks that a lot of that material got got lost on the cutting room floor, but I always thought that was pretty cool. And then following that up with Batman and Robin, where Bruce Wayne has this like he's like this ultimate control freak. Like everyone has to be like pieces on his little chessboard. He's like, no, Robin has to do what I say, and Alfred, you can't be making, you can't be doing these crazy things and jumping. You can't be dying, Alfred. You can't die. I hate death. I have to control death. I'm Batman. Batman can control death because mortality is not something that I can properly. I can't process it because I'm 8 years old in my brain. I think that's really interesting. So yeah, I definitely think if Joel Schumacher got his way, we would have seen some really interesting Batman films in the 90s, but you know, Warner Brothers was like, oh, Tim Burton got us sued, so how about you just make some toy commercials and we'll be happy with that. Supreme says, also in Cape Punk, I'm into the deconstructive takes on street level vigilante archetypes, like Kill or Be Killed by Brubaker or whatnot. Yeah, I haven't read Kill or Be Killed. Just the artwork just was a pill that I couldn't swallow. But that was like me 5 years ago. I'm not sure how me now would feel about it, so I'll check it out. I typically like Sean Phillips. I just didn't like his artwork in Kill or Be Killed for some reason. Oh, what's up, Devia? How you doing, buddy? Oh no, I scrolled again. Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker had a big chip on his shoulder in The Amazing Spider-Man 2012, but Sony turns him into a generic good guy male superhero protagonist in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 onwards. You know what's crazy? I don't even see him as being like a generic kind of good guy in Amazing Spider-Man 2 either. I feel like he's still kind of doing the fuckboy thing. Cause that's the big thing with Spider-Man. That I don't think a lot of modern creators kind of nail. Peter Parker is a fuckboy. Like in every sense of the word. Like this is the guy who he'll go on a date with someone and then he'll get distracted by like something going on outside and then he's like, oh, I gotta go. By the way, you get the check, right? Because I ain't got no money. Like like Peter Parker's a fuckboy. He's a flake, but you know, he's gifted. He's gifted. So women put up with him. But but yeah, no, he's a flake. He's like got a bad temper. Like he's a fuckboy. Like he's always broke. That's prime fuckboy behavior right there. Like Peter Parker's an F-boy, but like no one writes him like that anymore. So I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating. But Andrew Garfield's like one of the last like adaptations of the character that I think really kind of nailed that, the F-boy behavior of Peter Parker. I think Jake Johnson does a really good job of it too, but like we don't really get to see much of it because those aren't Peter Parker's movies. Those are Miles Morales' movies. So we're following Miles, and Peter's just like a goofy side character. But yeah, and Andrew is like I think the closest to like comic book Peter Parker that we've ever seen in live action. Insomniac Spider-Man equals Sony's Spider-Man in a nutshell. Yeah, basically. Insomniac Spider-Man is also the canceled Amazing Spider-Man Cinematic Universe plans as games. I mean, more or less. They are straight up just those movies, but like done well, I think. I really wonder what we're gonna see when we get Green Goblin. Because that's coming. Like I think the game is. Well, not I think. I've also had the final cutscene spoiled for me too. But like, yeah, the whole thing where like Norman's like, oh, I need Otto's help to use the G serum. He's gonna goblin himself up. Um, I'm just fascinated to see what that looks like. Oh man, holy crap! I just choked on a peppercorn right there. That sucked. But the whole thing with like the Insomniac universe is it's just set up very weird. Like basically what we're looking at is a Spider-Man who is like 10 years into his career. He fought Doc Ock after being Spider-Man for 8 years. He never had a Gwen Stacy. And he's gonna end up fighting Venom far before he ever fights the Green Goblin. I just think that's weird, man. Yeah. My brain is just having a whole weird time wrapping itself around that idea. Supreme Omega says on Cape Punk, JMS did some of that too. Yeah, Rising Stars, Midnight Nation, Supreme Power. I don't really consider Supreme Power Cape Punk. That's more like that's a superhero book. Like you have like characters wearing superhero costumes. It's a superhero book. The problem with modern depictions of superheroes in media, like My Adventures with Superman, Batman, Spider-Man PS5, is that they make the MCs to be non-threatening, as to like not offend anybody, so they come off as soy boys. Yeah, that's my big problem with it. They take these characters' teeth away. Spider-Man has teeth. Superman has teeth. Superman he's a character born out of frustration. Like, this is not some like passive Starman who just kind of like, hi, I'm Superman. Haha, look at me sway. Like, no, this is a journalist who has crazy space powers, and he's noticing that the power of the pen is worth jack shit, so he makes himself a sword. He is the sword. He goes out and he punches people he does not like. And he's a bully to people he considers bullies, because just simply writing about the problem isn't fixing it. You have to actually go out there and you have to be the change in the world that you want to see. And that puts you on a very kind of like Randian path, I think, if you want to take the character in that direction or like explore that idea. But yeah, there's a lot of frustration built up in Clark Kent as a character. There's a lot of like angst in Spider-Man. Dude, I remember when the Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out, and there were so many people who were just like, I mean, I'm convinced were like, they were planning on hating that movie, because a lot of the criticisms I heard of it just sounded stupid. Like, oh my god, why is Peter Parker like so angsty, and why is he like making all these like really dumb decisions? It's like, he's a teenager. Spider-Man's the ultimate coming of age story about a teenager coming of age. He makes mistakes and then he learns from them. That's the whole point of Spider-Man. And yeah, he's an angsty little brat. Like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Like, So it's that weird thing where, like, even when you do adapt the character properly, pop culture just kind of has such a sanitized perspective of these characters that when you do kind of give them their teeth back, everyone's like, oh no, you made them mean and angry. You made them vengeful. Ooh, I don't like it. Like, it's so funny when people were like, in Man of Steel, when Superman, he like destroys that dude's truck from the bar who's like sexually assaulting his coworker. Like, everyone's like, Superman would never do that. It's like, Golden Age Superman would do a hell of a lot more than just that. In fact, Golden Age Superman would say, you're being a little too easy on that guy, Clark. You You need to maybe like break his hands and throw him like halfway across the state. That's what you need to do. So it's just funny. Yes. So okay. So I did read Dark Knight, Dark City. This is by Peter Milligan and actually, who does the interiors? Because I know there's a lot of different people in this one graphic novel trade. There's like 3 stories in this. Okay, but for Dark Knight, Dark City, you have Peter Milligan and Kifron Dyer and Dennis Yankee who do the interior artwork. Also, all the covers are done by Mignola, and they're amazing. Yeah, this is really good. I always kind of talk about how I'm one of those people who loves the Riddler in theory, but there aren't a lot of great Riddler stories out there. This is one of them. This is one of the great Riddler stories, and just no one talks about it. No one talks about it. Such a disappointment, dude. Like, so the whole thing is that Riddler stumbles upon this journal from a bunch of American, or I guess early American aristocrats, from the colonial days, back when America was still like under British colonial rule. So you have like a teenage Thomas Jefferson. You have like a bunch of other like East Coast affluent members of high society, and they're all like running this ritual, and they're going to like try to summon and then capture a bat demon named Barbatos, and basically just like all the Grant Morrison stuff that I love from Grant Morrison's run, all like the entirety of Scott Snyder's run on Batman leading up to Metal and Dark Metal comes from this. It comes from this like crazy silly Riddler story, and the Riddler basically finds this old journal, and he wants to capture the Bat Demon himself. And it's very interesting. You have the whole thing where like Bruce Wayne is he's like the avatar for like the Bat Demon of Gotham. It's just so good. It's just such a good story. This is something I have to make like a video on at some point. But yeah, this was great. I also love that this winds up being a supernatural story. Because Batman starts off as a supernatural sort of like character. He's fighting like vampires and werewolves and whatnot. So this kind of ties back to like the occult horror vibes that Batman starts off as having. And I feel like there was a lot of that in the 80s. Specifically among like the main ongoing Batman stuff. Peter Milligan is like definitely riffing like on a major like occult horror vibe with a lot of these stories in here. But like Batman the Demon trilogy, that's very horror centric. You know, a lot of the you got like Batman the Cult by actually I think everyone who worked on Batman the Cult is dead now. I think Barry Windsor Smith, and Len Wein. Bernie Wrightson. Never mind. So like Bernie Wrightson. Jim Starlin's still alive. Okay, cool. You know, John Costanza, Bill Ray. Yeah, like Batman the Cult is like that. That's a very occultist horror kind of story. So yeah, man, I love this for taking Batman back to his horror roots. This also is the book that like I think gives Riddler that like kind of edgy, kind of like murdery kind of vibe. Um, which I think a lot of people attribute to like Riddle Me That, but it actually kind of starts here, so that's interesting. But yeah, dude, Dark Knight Dark City is really good. I really enjoyed it. Um, I know that I think it was if it wasn't you, it was Tristan who commented on the community post saying that Comic Pop talked about this book. I'm fascinated to see what Sal thinks of it because I don't think Sal likes horror Batman. I think Sal likes crime buster, like Frank Miller, super cop Batman. So I'm fascinated to see what he thinks of a like a Sherlock Holmes meets supernatural type Batman story. I really liked it a lot, but I don't know. I know for a fact I have like a weird take on Batman in my head, and like it just is what it is. Um, but oh crap. And hey, what's up, Tevia? I love Spider-Man PS5. It's fantastic. Yeah, the gameplay is really good. I also love the Baxter building in the game. It's really fun. Um, like Marvel can finally admit that the Fantastic Four. What's my air freshener making that sound? That's weird. Um, can you guys hear that? I changed the filter earlier. I don't know why I was making that sound. Um, so bizarre. Can you guys hear that? Does that sound weird to anyone? It's making a scary sound. Alright, I'll just turn it off. Now I don't know what's going on there. Oh well. Um, but yeah, no. Oh, I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I don't know. I think I was talking about the Spider-Man game, but it is kind of weird that the Insomniac, the Spider-Man games really kind of sometimes go out of their way to say that like this is an established Marvel universe, like other superheroes exist here, but they beef up Spider-Man's rogues gallery to the point where I'm just left wondering what the Avengers actually do. Like, are they like the Ultimates where they just kind of sit around with their thumbs up their ass just going like, wouldn't it be cool if I got played by Robert Downey Jr. in a movie? Wouldn't it be cool if I got played by Chris Hemsworth? Is that just what the Avengers do? Are they just like are they a government op? Do they not actually do anything? Are they just the Seven? They're just super celebrities. They don't actually do anything. They're just like the world's like biggest World War III deterrent. Is that all that is? I feel like that's all that is. Because like no way the actual comic book Avengers would let a symbiote invasion take place on the Earth. That's not. Come on. Come on. I mean, at least the Fantastic Four get like stuck in the negative zone every 5 minutes, so like I can buy that. But I don't know. It's weird to me. I'm gonna make that same joke in my first impressions video for Spider-Man 2, but like that's just how I feel about it. It's just weird. Superhero tropes. I wonder why so many popular heroes are rich people. Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark, Oliver Queen, Reed Richards, Charles Xavier. Isn't the superhero supposed to be a symbol of the people? Yes, but when a lot of these characters were created, Um, there just kind of needed to be like an offhand justification for how they could afford all of their gadgets and materials. Like, Batman being rich is really just, it comes down to the fact that you need an explanation for how he can afford, like, the batarangs, the cars, the bat gyro, um, like all that. Also, like, how is he friends with like high society types, like the police commissioner who feeds him information as Bruce Wayne? Like, it's really just like a offhanded, like, how could he do that? He's rich. Next, moving on. It's like almost not that important, really. Um, Same thing with Charles Xavier. Same thing with Oliver Queen. Tony Stark, I think there's definitely some commentary on like the military-industrial complex, uh, especially during like the Korean War. Um, which, by the way, that's the war that Tony gets injured in. Everyone says it's Vietnam, but it's not. Vietnam is a late 60s era war. Korea is the early 60s war, and Iron Man's an early 60s character, so it was definitely the Korean War. It had to be, because the Korean War is like from the late 50s into the early 60s. So yeah, that's, yeah. Yeah, right? Hold on a second. Oh, wait, it's, 53 is when it ends? Oh, crap. Wait, then when is... Well, I mean, the Korean War never actually ended. Just throwing it out there. Vietnam is 50s. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on a second. I think I just memed myself. Oh, crap. I just spread misinformation on the internet. Let me see. I could have sworn it was the Korean War. It's the Vietnam War? Holy crap. Am I wrong? I've been wrong this whole time. Wait, no. Okay. I don't have my Iron Man essential collection, so I can't just like flip through it anymore. Hmm. X-Men 12 states that both Charles Xavier and Kane Marco fought in the Korean War. Damn. All right. Well, shit. I guess he was in Vietnam. Well, goddamn. I guess I'm just wrong there. Shit. Uh. Oh, well. It'd be like that. Clone Saga had one moment where Peter is arrested for the death that were connected to the clone Kane. Yeah, I like read Clone Saga like very recently. Um, Damn, nope, still sounds weird. Crap. Oh well. Yeah, Clone Saga is weird. It just drags out for way too long. Like it kind of feels like it's just going nowhere. That's the big problem with Clone Saga. Um, and where it eventually does wind up, it's just not. It's not a satisfactory ending. Also, the whole like trial of Peter Parker is really fucking stupid. Uh, it's really dumb. Um, Arcus says, idea make Spider Woman Jessica Drew to be Marvel's female James Bond. Let her travel the world and fight villain organizations seducing men. I mean, that's basically what she used to be. It's more or less what she used to be. Um, I don't know why she's not that anymore, but like, I don't know. Uh, or we can just use Black Widow as a female James Bond. Yeah, I mean that's. I haven't read a lot of Black Widow material, but I have read in Hickman's run of the Avengers. Black Widow's she's very much like James Bond with an XY chromosome, or is it? Wait, are women XY or XX? Hold on a second. I'm learning new stuff today. Okay, XX is female and XY is male. Okay, cool. Don't ever say you didn't learn anything here on Let's Talk Comics. A question: do you believe the mainstream Marvel editorial need a reality check to stop making bad Spider-Man comics? I mean, here's the thing with Marvel, and working at a comic book shop just made this like abundantly clear. And I've also just heard this from multiple people within the comics industry. Marvel Comics is they're the guys who don't learn a lesson because they have more hubris than anyone else in recorded history. If hubris had a name, or if hubris had a picture, it would just be the Marvel logo. They're never going to admit that they're wrong because they didn't do anything wrong. That's just the way they think. And I do have it on good authority that at this point, everything done with Spider-Man in the comics is just out of spite. It's really just these stupid fanboys on the internet hate us and they say mean things to us. So we're just gonna keep sticking it to them because we're the good guys. That's how Marvel's approaching a lot of their publishing for Amazing Spider-Man, and that's really just why I'm not reading it. I have no reason to read it, so I don't know. I'm not interested in it. I'll read other stuff in the meantime. But Supreme Omega says on a deconstructive take on vigilante archetypes, the '80s vigilante Adrian Chase was ahead of its time. Yeah, no, it's really good. Mind blowing ending too. Didn't see that coming. Also, John Ty, I can't confirm sales are down for Amazing Spider-Man. They've been down for a while. Tevi says, "Do you believe Ultimate Spider-Man will beat Amazing Spider-Man in sales?" I think it will in the beginning. I can't say for certain in the long run, but I definitely think with a speculator push. Why did I put emphasis on later? But like definitely with like an emphasis on like the speculator push, you're definitely gonna see like a there's gonna be a lot of people buying the first like 2 to 3 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, compared to Amazing Spider-Man. But we'll see where that number kind of evens out around like issue 3 or 4 range. Insomniac did Craven justice. Yeah, no, they did a pretty good job with Craven, I think. Um, I mean it. I did have this whole thing when talking about because I was just talking about the game with a buddy of mine before the stream started, but I do feel like Insomniac's like Spider-Man 2, it is Craven's Last Hunt directed by Michael Bay. That's more or less what it is. It is the big action blockbuster movie version of Craven's Last Hunt. Um, I mean, it still kind of gets like the thematic heart of what Craven's Last Hunt is about, but like, for the most part, it's the action movie version of Spider-Man, which is what Insomniac Spider-Man is. Basically, it is Spider-Man if Spider-Man was an action movie, which I guess is funny because like all the Spider-Man films are just big budget action movies, but this is more so that this is Spider-Man directed by Michael Bay. That's what Insomniac Spider-Man is. So Craven's like bigger and beefier and scarier, but like he's still kind of Craven, I feel. Mainstream Marvel is a train wreck right now. I don't necessarily agree. Moon Knight's really good. I'm really liking the oh god damn it. I was gonna say yeah, the offshoot Spider-Man books. Like Venom is great. I'm also really liking Avengers right now. Not Avengers. I'm looking forward to the Avengers by Chip Zdarsky. That's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to all the alternate universe stuff. Marvel's doing pretty good right now. I don't know, man. Also, Hulk by Philip Kennedy Johnson is great. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Marvel's doing pretty good right now. Um, uh, Insomniac Peter Parker doesn't have Gwen Stacy as part of his love interest because Spider-Man fanboys preferred a couple as Peter Parker and Mary Jane. Yeah, I also have like this itching feeling that the Miles Morales' girlfriend or the love interest that they're trying to bill him with, Haley, I think she's gonna wind up being Miles' Gwen Stacy. I think they're gonna give that story to Miles, which I think would suck, but I think that's what they might do. Um, Insomniac Spider-Man feels like he's still only starting up his career as a superhero. Uh, he should be more jaded because he comes out as just another Miles. I mean, he comes out as just like a plank of wood. There's just nothing there to him. Golden Age Superman would just kill him. Basically, yeah. The guy in the bar, yeah. Do you believe Insomniac Wolverine will be great? I hope it's great. I'm looking forward to it a lot. People who say why is teenage Peter Parker so angsty? They don't care about teenage superheroes or sidekicks. They just want Spider-Man. That's true. Rather than Spider-Teen, they rather pass high school, college years. Yeah, and again, that goes back to the whole thing where you have characters who are kind of at war with themselves, which is like the whole what did they start off as versus what were they popularized as. Spider-Man was not popularized as the angsty teenager. He was popularized as the like it's the Archie kind of love triangle thing. I'm Peter Parker. I'm going to parties with my buddy Harry Osborn, who's rich, and we're roommates. And who am I gonna take to the coffee bean today? Is it gonna be Is it gonna be Gwen Stacy? Is it gonna be Mary Jane Watson, the firecracker? Oh, let's swoosh oakley dokley. Oh gosh and golly, what's gonna happen now? That's what Spider-Man got popularized as, but that's not where that character starts. So the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man stuff it's more so focusing on the origins of that character, the angst, the drama. And a lot of people I just don't think are familiar with that, so they look at it like it's foreign. It's weird. How dare you make Spider-Man angsty? Uh, um, the pop culture Spider-Man love interest is Mary Jane. Casuals and general audiences don't care about Gwen Stacy, Reed from Black Cat, which is unfortunate. I like both of them. I have a ghost in my room. I mean, this building's super old. Maybe I don't know. This may be a hot take, but I like. While I like reading Williams' Superman run, it does feel a bit too much like comfort food. Yeah. I had that with the first like couple of issues. That's why I dropped it. Insomniac's Avengers equals the Ultimates plus the Authority. Oh god, that sounds terrifying. That's basically just the boys. At that point, that's the seven from the boys. Yeah, I did check out your Spider-Man review. I just didn't comment on it, but I did check it out. Insomniac Avengers trope, minding our own fucking business. That's yeah, basically. Yeah, the Korean Wars. Yeah, 50 to 53. For the longest time, I thought Tony was in the Korean War, but I guess I'm wrong there. Maybe the Avengers are protecting the Inhumans. Oh Jesus Christ! In that terrible video game. Uh, uh, Clone Saga equals random story arcs featuring clones. Yeah, it's not even really like a saga. It's just like this is the status quo of Spider-Man. It's a lot like when DC recollected the No Man's Land arcs, where they're like, "This is the epic saga of No Man's Land," and it's like, No Man's Land wasn't a story. It was just that was just the status quo for Batman at the time. That's just what Batman comics were for like 3 or 4 years. On the mentality of enraged fans equals engaged fans. When did this start? Did it all start in the 2000s under Didio and Casada, or was it earlier, like the 90s and 80s? Well, the whole there's no such thing as bad press. That's always been around. Um, like a lot of people have said that, even bad press is good press because it's still press. Um, that's some old that's an old mentality. But when it really strikes comics is like the 2000s. The whole like controversy sells mentality. That's like that really kind of ramps up under Joe Quesada. And Marvel's just kind of been doing that ever since. Stick it to the fans. It's Marvel Comics. Yeah, that's Marvel Comics. MO in a nutshell right now. Marvel equals hubris and DC equals ego. just like the fans themselves complaining. Um, 1 minute and then consuming the next. Yeah. Well, that's how Marvel definitely thinks people operate. Whereas in reality, people kind of just give up on your books if they don't like them after a while. Which is why Amazing Spider-Man sales are kind of down. At least they were down at my old job, so I don't know. Um, any opinion on the new Superior Spider-Man book? Yeah, it shouldn't exist, but whatever. I guess you guys will see what's the deal with that. I'm not gonna read it. I didn't care for the first Superior Spider-Man. I don't see myself caring for the new one. Insomniac Spider-Man 2 equals Michael Bay's Spider-Man Kraven's Last Hunt. Well, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's literally a video game based on Sony's Spider-Man movies and set in its own alternate reality. Yep. Yeah, Hulk is fantastic. Do you consider Runaways Cape Punk? Not really, because they take it. It all takes place in a superhero universe. So I don't consider it Cape Punk. The best Kraven the Hunter is still the '90s Spider-Man cartoon. They're treated like a person and has a character progression. Yeah, I mean, I like him. He's interesting in that show. But I really like him in the Spider-Man game that just came out. And I also have a soft spot for MTV Kraven, from the MTV Spider-Man show. I like Kraven a lot in that show. Any opinions on Spider-Girl Mayday Parker teaming up with her dad to fight Mephisto? I mean, that'd be fun to see. It all comes down to like how it's written, but I'm down to see that. The Authority would destroy the Seven for the boys. Absolutely. The Authority are basically like the Justice League with like with no aversions of killing. It'd be over. Dick Spencer's the Mephisto and Mayday cliffhanger. Future relaunch, reboot, alternate reality of Marvel's MC2 universe. Marvel can do that. They're not going to do that, but it'd be cool if they did. No Man's Land gave us Cassandra Cain. Yeah. I love that issue where she shows up too. It's really good. No Man's Land is basically screwing over Huntress as Batgirl. Yeah. Which could explain Ultimatum was killed in that universe. The world no longer needs the Amazing Spider-Man. It needs the Superior Spider-Man. Oh God, I can't. The original Ultimate Universe. Yeah, it still exists. It's on fire, but it still exists. Question: any opinion on Grant Morrison's New 52 Superman versus Bendis Superman? For me, while I was not a fan of New 52 Superman, I will take Morrison's take over what Bendis did. No question. I just don't like Bendis' Superman. I think he had a good voice for Clark Kent. I just didn't like his take on the book at all. Thought the plots were really stupid. Deadpool Volume 3, Issue 11, quote, Kraven the animal fucker. Oh my god, that's funny. Supreme Omega says, on Invincible, even though he tries to be an idealistic hero, Mark has zero problems using lethal force. Yeah, I mean, there's a point in the book where he, like, murders one of the children of Thrag, who's, like, the Viltrumite Emperor, and he's just like, fuck being a hero. I mean, there's a little bit of that Kirkman angst where you can very clearly tell the timeline of when he was fired from Marvel Comics. You can tell a little bit. But yeah. Um yeah, Invincible's really good. Um and then Ultimatum killing the Ultimate Marvel Universe, which killed. Oh! Wait, so like 616 Miles Morales killed everyone? Oh, that's stupid. That's stupid. Invincible Mark Grayson quote: "Being a hero is BS. It will it will only be mainstream meme when the animated series uses it." Yeah, I'm gonna preempt that. I'm just gonna plaster that meme everywhere until it finally gets used in like season 5 or whatever. Um, yeah, Invincible. Yeah, Invincible's a really good series. Um, on Red Hood, will DC ever let Jason truly control crime? Or nope, nope. The character is too popular for his own good, so he's gonna be stuck running a hamster wheel forever. Um, Ultimatum is even with Magneto killing everyone. Yeah, okay, never mind. That's what you're talking about. Okay, I thought you were talking about the Miles Morales character named Ultimatum. I mean, yeah, Ultimatum killed like most of the Ultimate Universe, but not everyone. Like Spider-Man stuck around. A large portion of the X-Men stuck around. Kitty Pryde and Jean Grey became the new versions of Professor X and Magneto, so that was pretty interesting. Um, Tony Stark is still around. The Ultimates are still, for the most part, still around. Um, not everyone died. Just like, a lot of people died. Like Daredevil and Wolverine. But, yeah, mostly everyone else they're still there. Um, but, yeah, guys, I'm actually going to turn in early because I have to get to work super early in the morning. I have, this job. Oh, well. But thanks for showing up, guys. I'm glad I could stream again for you guys. This is the first time in 2 weeks I've actually sat down here and talked about comics with you, so that's really fun. Hopefully I'll have my new video uploaded for you guys by either tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, definitely by Friday. But yeah, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. And yeah, until next time, take care. Happy reading. Read some cool stuff. Actually, I'm saying, before I go, let me see. Theory: original Ultimate Wolverine isn't Deadpool because his powers in the Ultimate Universe is to survive, not heal. Yeah. Oof. That's a rabbit hole. All right. Good night, guys. See you later. But I'll answer your question next week.